Good evening, and welcome to episode 9 of Mortar and Pestle's Radio Classics. Almost 600 years ago, a man named Geoffrey Chaucer coined a phrase: "Murder will out. Certainly it can't miss." And so it can't. It rarely misses in the theater. The season of 1940 to 41 was an excellent one for murder and for comedy. Owen Davis had adapted a novel by Francis and Richard Lockridge, Mr. and Mrs. North, about an attractive young couple blundering their way into the detective business, and this play was a hit. Joseph Kesselring wrote another one about murder by the dozen, which he originally titled Bodies in Our Cellar. This turned out to be Arsenic and Old Lace, which had 1,444 performances. Only 6 other plays in the history of Broadway stage have run longer. In the company on the first night of January 10, 1941 were Boris Karloff, Gina Dare, and other fine comedians. Tonight's performance features Glenda Bell as Abby Brewster, Gary Turner as the Reverend Dr. Harper, Stephen Vanny as Teddy Brewster, Scott Fairbairn as Officer Brophy, Molly Lubell as Martha Brewster, Sean Kalaki as Mortimer Brewster, Gabriel LaRochelle as Elaine Harper, Tony Patrick as Dr. Einstein, and Cademan Ricker Wilson as Jonathan Brewster. And so, without further ado, we proudly present part 1 of our 2-part season finale, Arsenic and Old Lace. Turn down the lights. The performance is beginning.
Into a cheerful trance when the skeleton in the closet started to dance.
Won't you have another biscuit, Dr. Harper?
Oh no, Miss Abby. I always eat too many of your biscuits just to taste the lovely jam.
But you haven't tried the quince. We always put a little apple in with it to take the tartness out. We'll send you over a jar. Teddy, more tea?
What? Oh, bully, bully.
Miss Abby, I've been meaning to speak to you about your nephew. Mortimer, I mean.
Oh, yes, I understand he's taking Elaine to the theater again tonight. Teddy, your brother Mortimer will be here a little later.
Delighted.
We're so happy it's Elaine that Mortimer takes to the theater with him.
Miss Abby, I'll be frank with you. I do not entirely approve of your nephew's unfortunate connection with the theater. A drama critic is constantly exposed to the theater, and I fear some of them do develop an interest in it.
Well, not Mortimer. You need have no fear of that. Why, Mortimer hates the theater.
Really?
Oh, yes. He writes awful things about the theater. But you can't blame him, poor boy. He was so happy writing about real estate, which he really knew something about, and then they just made him take this terrible night position.
My.
But, as he says, the theater can't last much longer anyway, and in the meantime it's a living. Oh, now, who do you suppose that is? I'm coming! I'm coming!
Oh, hello, Miss Brewster.
How are you, Officer Brophy? Come in.
Thank you. Afternoon, sir.
Sire, what news have you brought me?
Colonel, I've nothing to report.
Splendid. Thank you, sir. At ease.
We've come for the Christmas toys, Miss Brewster.
That's a splendid job you men do fixing toys for the children.
Yeah, well, it gives us something to do when we sit around the station. You get tired playing cards, then you start cleaning your gun, and the first thing you know, you've shot yourself in the foot.
Teddy, dear, go upstairs and get that big box from your Aunt Martha's room.
Delighted.
That's right, dear. Up the stairs. How is Mrs. Brophy today?
Pneumonia.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
Charge!
Oh, she's better now. A little weak still.
Well, I'm going to tell Sister Martha, and she'll bring you over some beef broth for her. And I'll be right back.
Oh, don't bother, Miss Abby. You've done so much for her already. Uh-oh. Hey, Colonel, you promised not to do that.
But I have to call a cabinet meeting to get the release of those supplies.
He used to do that in the middle of the night. The neighbors complain about him.
Oh, he is quite harmless.
Oh, sure. Hey, you suppose he does think he's Teddy Roosevelt? It's a shame, a nice family like this hatching a cuckoo. The grandfather made $1 million. Patent medicine.
Well, Officer Brophy and Dr. Harper, how nice.
Oh, hello, Miss Martha. I come to get the Christmas toys.
Oh, yes, Teddy's Army and Navy. Oh, they wear out.
Oh, you're back, Martha. How is poor Mr. Benitsky?
Well, dear, it's pretty serious, I'm afraid. The doctor was there. He's going to amputate in the morning.
Can we be present?
No, dear, I asked him, but he said it's against the rules of the hospital or something.
Oh. Oh, here's Teddy with the Army and Navy.
Oh, thanks, Colonel. This'll make a lot of kids happy.
What's this? What's this? What's this? The USS Oregon?
Oh, no, Teddy, dear, you put that back.
But the Oregon goes to Australia.
Thank you again, ma'am.
And Hut,
Yes, sir, Colonel.
dismissed.
Yes, sir.
I shall retire to field headquarters. Charge! Charge the blockhouse!
The blockhouse?
The stairs are always San Juan Hill.
Have you ever tried to persuade him that he wasn't Teddy Roosevelt?
Oh, no.
Oh, he's so happy being Teddy Roosevelt.
Once, a long time ago, remember, Martha? We thought if he could be George Washington, it might be a change for him.
But he stayed under his bed for days and just wouldn't be anybody.
And we'd so much rather he be Mr. Roosevelt than nobody.
Well, if he's happy. Well, I'd better be running along.
Give our love to Elaine. And, Dr. Harper, please don't think too harshly of Mortimer because he's a dramatic critic. Somebody has to do these things.
Goodbye.
Did you just have tea? Isn't it rather late?
Yes, and dinner's going to be late, too.
So, why?
Teddy!
Yes, Aunt Abby.
Good news for you. You're going to Panama and dig another lock for the canal.
Delighted. That's bully. Just bully. I shall prepare at once for the journey. Oh. Charge!
Abby, you mean
Yes, dear.
while I was out?
Yes, dear. I just couldn't wait for you. I didn't know when you'd be back, and Dr. Harper was coming.
But dear, all by yourself? Oh, I'll run right downstairs and see.
Oh, no, there wasn't time.
Then where did you...
Martha, look in the window seat.
The window seat?
Mm-hmm. Go ahead, dear. Lift the lid.
Oh, Abby! Abby, isn't it just too delightful? And to think you managed it all by yourself!
We're almost home, Elaine. Now make up your mind. Where do you want to go for dinner?
Oh, I don't care, Mortimer, really.
Well, suppose we wait till after the show.
Well, that'll make it pretty late, won't it?
Not with the little stinker we're seeing tonight.
Oh, I was hoping it would be a musical. They seem to have a humanizing effect on you, darling. After a serious play, we joined the proletariat in the subway, and I listened to that lecture on the drama. It wasn't until we saw a musical that you took me home in a taxi, and noticed my legs.
Elaine, where could we be married in a hurry? Say, tonight.
Well, I'm afraid Father will insist on officiating.
I'll bet your father could make even the marriage service sound pedestrian.
Are you by any chance writing a review of it?
Sorry, darling. Occupational disease. Here we are. The Brewster Mansion.
Thanks. Isn't that Teddy at the door?
Yes.
Well, what's he doing in shorts and a sun helmet?
Hello, Mortimer.
How are you, Mr. President?
Fully, thank you. Just fully. What news have you brought me?
Just this, Mr. President. The country is squarely behind you.
Yes, I know. Isn't it wonderful? Well, goodbye.
Oh, where are you off to, Teddy?
Panama!
Well,
Panama's the cellar. He digs locks for the canal down there.
oh, you're very sweet with him.
Teddy always was my favorite brother.
Favorite? Were there more of you?
There's another brother, Jonathan. We don't talk about him. He left Brooklyn very early, by request. Jonathan was the kind of boy who liked to cut worms in two, with his teeth.
What became of him?
I don't know. He wanted to become a surgeon like grandfather, but he wouldn't go to medical school first. And his practice got him into trouble.
Oh, well, goodbye, darling. I'll run over and say goodnight to Father. Before I go out with you, he likes to pray over me a little.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be right back. I'll cut across the cemetery.
Hello, Mortimer.
Oh, hello, Aunt Abby. Did you see my chapter on Thoreau? I wanted to show it to Elaine.
No, I haven't seen it, dear. We thought you'd like a little something before you leave. Martha's getting a piece of the Lady Baltimore cake. Dr. Harper was here to tea. He's concerned about Elaine going to the theater so much.
He'd love tonight's horror. Murder will out.
Oh, dear. Well, I think I'll open a bottle of wine. It'll be nice with the cake.
Yeah, I can see it all now. The same old thing when the curtain goes up. Where is that chapter? The first thing you'll see, maybe in the window seat, will be a dead body. Sure, just like this one. A dead body? A dead body.
There is a happy land far, far away. Lady Baltimore cake is so nice with a little wine, don't you think, dear?
And Martha, Aunt Abby,
Yes, dear?
you told me you were going to make plans for Teddy to go to that, sanitarium, Happy Dale.
Yes, dear, it's all arranged. Teddy has to sign the papers.
He's got to sign them right away. Well, you've got to know sometime. I'm frightfully sorry, but I've got some shocking news for you. Teddy's killed a man.
Oh, nonsense, dear.
There's a body in that window seat.
Yes, dear, we know.
Oh, well, you know?
Now, Mortimer, just forget about it. Forget you ever saw the gentleman.
Forget?
We never dreamed you'd peek.
But who is he?
His name is Hoskins, Adam Hoskins. That's really all I know about him, except that he's a Methodist.
Well, what's he doing here? What happened to him?
He died?
Aunt Martha, men don't just get in window seats and die.
No, he died first.
Well, how?
Oh, Mortimer, don't be so inquisitive. The gentleman died because he drank some wine with poison in it.
How did the poison get in the wine?
Well, we put it in the wine because it's less noticeable. When it's in tea, it has a distinct odor.
You put it in the wine?
Yes, and I put Mr. Hoskins in the window seat because Dr. Harper was coming.
Oh, so you knew what you'd done. You didn't want Dr. Harper to see the body?
Well, not at tea. That wouldn't have been very nice. Now you know the whole thing, Mortimer. Just forget about it. I do think Martha and I have the right to our own little secrets. Butter plates, Martha. Butter plates.
Oh, yes, of course, dear. Oh, Abby, while I was out, I dropped in on Mrs. Schultz. She's much better, yes. And she would like us to take Junior to the movies again.
Well, we must do that. Tomorrow or the next day.
Yes, but this time we'll go where we want to go. Junior's not going to drag me into another one of those scary pictures.
Martha? Aunt Abby? What are we gonna do?
What are we going to do about what, dear?
There's a body in that window seat.
Yes, Mr. Hoskins.
Well, good heavens! I can't turn you over to the police. What am I going to do?
Well, for one thing, dear, stop being so excited.
And for pity's sake, stop worrying. We told you to forget the whole thing.
Forget? My dear Aunt Abby, can't I make you realize that something has to be done?
Now, Mortimer, you behave yourself. You're too old to be flying off the handle like this.
But you can't leave him there!
We don't intend to, dear.
No, Teddy's down in the cellar digging the lock.
You mean you're going to bury Mr. Hotchkiss in the cellar?
Hoskins, dear. Oh, yes, dear, of course. That's what we did with the others.
Oh, no. You can't bury Mr. Others?
The other gentleman.
When you say others, do you mean others? More than one others?
Oh, yes, dear. Oh, let me see. This is, 11, isn't it, Abby?
No, dear, this makes 12.
Oh, I think you're wrong, Abby. This is only 11.
No, dear, because I remember when Mr. Hoskins first came in, it occurred to me that he would make just an even dozen.
Well, you really shouldn't count the first one, dear.
Oh, well, I was counting the first one, so that makes it 12.
Hello? Oh. Hello? Al. Oh my, it's good to hear your voice.
12, 11.
Shh! Al! Checking up. Well, I know. I didn't pick up the tickets. Yeah, I'm glad you called. Now, get a hold of George right away. He's got to review the play for me. Yeah, I'll explain later. Now, let's see, where are we? 12?!
Yes. Abby thinks we ought to count the first one, and that makes it 12.
Well, all right. Who was the first one?
Mr. Midgley. He was a Baptist. He came here looking for a room.
He was such a lonely old man.
All his kith and kin were dead, and it left him so forlorn and unhappy.
We felt so sorry for him.
And then when his heart attack came, and he sat in that chair looking so peaceful, remember, Martha?
Mm-hmm.
We made up our minds, then and there, that if we could help other lonely old men to the same peace, we would.
He dropped dead right in that chair. Oh, how awful for you.
Oh, no, dear. Why, it was rather like old times. Your grandfather always used to have a cadaver or two around the place.
Well, I know, but...
You see, Teddy had been digging in Panama, and he thought Mr. Midgley was a yellow fever victim.
That meant he had to be buried immediately.
So we all took him down to Panama and put him in the lock.
And that's how it started.
Of course, we realized we couldn't depend on that happening again, so...
You remember those jars of poison that have been up in the shelves in Grandfather's laboratory all these years?
You know your Aunt Martha's knack for mixing things. You've eaten enough of her piccalilli.
Well, dear, for a gallon of elderberry wine, I take 1 teaspoon of arsenic, then add half a teaspoon of strychnine, and then just a little pinch of cyanide.
Should have quite a kick.
Yes, as a matter of fact, one of our gentlemen found time to say, "How delicious!"
Oh, yes, he did. Well, I have to get things started in the kitchen for supper.
I wish you could stay, Mortimer.
I'm trying out a new recipe.
I couldn't eat a thing.
Hello, darling. I keep you waiting?
Oh, it's you. Run along home, Elaine. I'll call you up tomorrow.
Tomorrow?
Well, you know, I always call you every day or two.
But we're going to the theater tonight.
Oh, no. No, we're not. Elaine, something's come up. Now, you run along home.
Well, what's happened? If we're going to be married...
Married?
Have you forgotten that not 15 minutes ago you proposed to me?
I did. Oh, yes. Well, as far as I know, that's still on. Now, you run along home.
Listen, you can't propose to me 1 minute and throw me out of the house the next.
Well, I'm not throwing you out of the house, darling. Will you get out of here?
Don't push.
Now, you get out, and I'll call you in a few days.
Mortimer! Mortimer!
Whew. Hello, Al? What? George is in Bermuda? Oh, well, get somebody. Get the office boy. You know, the bright one. The one we don't like. All right, then. Get the printer. He knows what I write. The third machine from the left. Yeah, but Al, he might turn out to be another John Chapman. Yeah, all right.
Was that Elaine, dear?
Aunt Martha, Aunt Abby, sit down.
But Mortimer.
Sit down. There.
Well, dear?
You can't do things like that. I don't know how to explain this to you, but it's not only against the law, it's wrong. It's not a nice thing to do. People wouldn't understand.
Abby, we shouldn't have told Mortimer.
Well, what I mean is, this has developed into a very bad habit.
Mortimer, we don't try to stop you from doing things you like to do. I don't see why you should interfere with us.
Hello, Al! Oh, all right. Well, all right. I'll see the first act and tear it to pieces. All right. Now look, I've got to go to the theater. But before I go, will you promise me something?
Well, we'd have to know what it was first.
Will you do this for me?
What do you want us to do?
Don't do anything. I mean, don't do anything. Don't let anyone in this house. And leave Mr. Hoskins right where he is.
Why?
We were planning on holding services before dinner.
Services?
Certainly. You don't think we'd bury Mr. Hoskins without a full Methodist service, do you? Why, he was a Methodist.
Well, can't that wait till I get back?
Oh, then you could join us. Oh, you'll enjoy the service, especially the hymns. Remember, Martha, how beautifully Mortimer used to sing in the choir before his voice changed?
Mm-hmm.
And remember, you're not going to let anyone in this house while I'm gone. Have you got some paper?
Here's some stationery. Will this do?
Oh, that'll be fine. I can save some time if I write my review on the way to the theater.
Come in, Doctor.
I'm right behind you, Johnny.
Well, this is the home of my youth.
Oh.
As a boy, I couldn't wait to escape from this place. Now I'm glad to escape back into it.
Yeah, Johnny, it's a fine hideout.
The family must still live here. There's something so unmistakably Brewster about the Brewsters. Ah! I hope there's fatted calf awaiting the return of the prodigal.
Yeah, I'm hungry. Oh, look, Johnny, a drink. Elderberry wine.
A good omen.
Here's to you, Johnny. Who's that?
Who are you? What are you doing here?
Why, Aunt Abby, Aunt Martha, it's Jonathan.
You get out of here!
But I'm Jonathan. Your nephew, Jonathan.
Oh, no, you're not. You're nothing like Jonathan, so don't pretend you are. You just get out of here.
But Aunt Abby, I am Jonathan. And this is Dr. Einstein.
And he's not Dr. Einstein either.
Not Dr. Albert Einstein. Dr. Herman Einstein.
His voice is like Jonathan's.
Have you been in an accident?
No. My face. Dr. Einstein is responsible for that. He changes people's faces.
Abby, I've seen that face before. Oh, do you remember when we took the little Schultz boy to the movies and I was so frightened? It was that face!
Aunt Martha!
Easy, Johnny, easy. Don't worry, ladies. The last 5 years I give Johnny 3 new faces. This last one, well, I saw that picture too just before I operate, and I was intoxicated.
You see, Doctor, you see what you've done to me, even my own family!
Johnny, you're home. These are your lovely aunts. They know you.
Well, Jonathan, it's been a long time. Where have you been all these years?
Oh, England, South Africa, Australia, and in the last 5 years, Chicago. Dr. Einstein and I were in business there together.
Oh, we were in Chicago for the World's Fair.
Oh, yes, we found Chicago awfully warm.
Yeah, it got hot for us too.
Well, it's wonderful to be back in Brooklyn again. And you, Abby, Martha, you don't look a day older, just as I remembered you, sweet, charming, hospitable. And dear Teddy, I remember him so high. Did he get into politics? You know, Doctor, my little brother was determined to become president.
Yeah?
Well, Jonathan, it's very nice to have seen you again.
Bless you, Aunt Martha. It's good to be home again.
Well, Martha, we mustn't let what's on the stove boil over.
Oh, yes, of course. Well, if you'll excuse us, Jonathan, unless you're in a hurry to go somewhere.
Martha!
Oh, yes, I'm coming, Abby.
Well, Johnny, where do we go from here? The police have pictures of that face. I've got to operate on you right away. We've got to find some place for Mr. Spinalzo, too.
Don't waste any worry on that rat.
But, Johnny, we got a hot stiff on our hands. You can't leave a dead body in the rumble seat. You shouldn't have killed him, Johnny. He's a nice fellow. He gave us a lift, and what happens?
He said I looked like Boris Karloff. That's your work, Doctor. You did this to me.
Now, Johnny, we find a place somewhere. I fix you up quick.
Tonight!
Johnny, I got to eat first. I'm hungry. I'm weak.
Jonathan, we're glad you remembered us and took the trouble to come in and say hello. But, you were never happy in this house, and we were never happy while you were in it. So, we've just come in to say goodbye.
But, Aunt Abby, I promised Dr. Einstein that if ever we came to Brooklyn, I'd bring him here for one of Aunt Martha's home-cooked dinners.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm afraid there wouldn't be enough.
Oh, Abby, it's a pretty good-sized pot roast.
Pot roast?
Well, I think the least we can do is...
Thank you, Aunt Martha. We'll stay to dinner.
Well, we'll hurry it along. And, Jonathan, if you want to freshen up, why don't you use the washroom in Grandfather's old laboratory?
Is that still there?
Oh, yes. Come along, Martha. We're all in a hurry.
Well, we get a meal anyway.
Grandfather's laboratory.
Hmm?
Doctor, a perfect operating room.
Too bad we can't use it.
I'll handle this. Why? This house will be our headquarters for years.
You mean... Oh, that would be beautiful, Johnny. This nice, quiet house, and those aunts of yours, what sweet ladies. I love them already. I get the bags from the car.
But we must wait till we're invited.
And if they say no?
Doctor, Two helpless old ladies.
Oh, it all comes true. A beautiful dream. It's so peaceful.
That's what makes this house so perfect for us. It's so peaceful.
Charge! Charge!
To be continued. Be sure to tune in next Sunday at 6 p.m. for the conclusion of Arsenic and Old Lace. Tonight's show was originally transcribed and adapted for radio by Ernest Kenoy for the Best Plays radio program on NBC and broadcast on July 6, 1952. Although our first season will be coming to an end with next week's performance, make sure to tune back in on October 31st for our Halloween special, and again in December for our Christmas variety show. If you liked tonight's show, please subscribe to show your support. You can also visit our website at www.mortarandpestleproductions.com for more content, information on submissions and volunteering, and to make donations to make more original programming possible. Stay safe, stay tuned, and good night.
Caused much anxiety in the Audubon Society with our games. They call it impiety and lack of propriety and quite a variety of unpleasant names. But it's not against any religion to want to dispose of a pigeon. So if Sunday you're free, why don't you come with me and we'll poison the pigeons in the park? And maybe we'll do in a squirrel or two while we're poisoning pigeons in the park. We'll murder them all amid laughter and merriment, except for the few we take home to experiment. My pulse will be quickening with each drop of strychnine we feed to a pigeon. It just